straight and fast. In drag racing, every millisecond counts. That's why the teams adjust the car's setup to suit the track conditions. Teams can assess the traction on the track by using this interesting device called a traction meter gauge. The bottom of the device has a rubber pad that mimics a racing slick. To measure the track's grip value, the user stands on the base, ensuring the rubber pad bonds with the racing surface. Turning the torque arm on the top of the device will rotate the rubber pad. When the bond breaks, the user will see a number on the dial. Teams can then use this number to help create baselines for grip within their respective setup.
A street car through to a race car, be sure to think of Aeroflow Performance. The ever-increasing range that started with just hose, fittings and fuel system components has grown to include boosted turbochargers, bang shift shifters, X-Pro ignition and electrical accessories, Bosch Motorsport products, fabrication parts, as well as driveline and engine components. With an exceptional distribution network and inventory, Aeroflow products are always within reach. With more to come in the future, be sure to keep an eye out at aeroflowperformance.com.
Bang shift shifters from Aeroflow Performance are truly the modern shifter for the modern age. Featuring a full bespoke billet case, all shifters are designed for right-hand drive vehicles with an LED lit gear position indicator. Available in either ratchet or gated options, as well as OEM replacement shifters for popular Holden and Ford vehicles. A large range of bang shift spares are available for each shifter that includes shifter cables, brackets, lever and gate kits, trans brake buttons and drop boxes for the ideal mounting solution. Shift into gear and check out a full listing at aeroflowperformance.com.
How would it be if we funded a pilot program for you to run that enabled you to bring some vision impaired kids onto the Saints Play program?
Oh wow, that would mean the world. My reward is the smile on the kids' faces.
And since you've given so much to others, we'd also like to do something for you personally. How would it feel if Pepper sent you, your partner, and your daughter Molly to the Gold Coast for a few days?
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what to say. It amazes me. Thank you very much.
BikeReview.com.au is Australia's leading website for performance and modified motorcycles. BikeReview.com.au is the only motorcycle-focused website to feature motorcycle drag racing on a regular basis. And in the words of editor Jeff Ware, our involvement with Sydney Dragway is our way of putting back into one of our favourite sports. BikeReview.com.au.
Bank said no to your home loan? Talk to us.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
I have this incredible drive to succeed. I've just got this ambition, I want to get on the podium. I think there's a lot of people that have an older mentality and don't think women belong in motorsport, and that's one thing I'd like to prove a lot of people wrong. It's you in the car and it's your ambition and your drive to win. As soon as that helmet goes on, that's it. I'm Brooke Newson. I'm a sprint car and outlaw car driver.
I've chosen to use VP racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP racing fuels.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up.
Well, good evening everyone and welcome to Aeroflow Race for Real here at Sydney Dragway. It's a pocket rocket up here in the studio for the moment until the Bushman turns up. But of course, in main commentary tonight, joining Steve is our regular Mark Thomas. How are you, Mark?
Mate, absolutely sensational. Always good when I get out here. Mate, just up in the box, looking out over this track. Oh, mate, what else could you want?
Well, I'll tell you what, I know what every other racer here would like. If they cracked the 000 and take away $1,500 for the reaction time prize contest.
Absolutely.
G'day to everybody who's watching via YouTube and Facebook. Welcome guys here to Sydney Dragway. Because a lot of our regulars look like they're already on. Sicko's on, Ace is on. G'day Ace. Panel Van Man, you're nice and early. The Gus Man's on early. Mike Sampson, who's tuning in from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh,
and the
absolutely.
good US of A. Welcome guys.
We've got a bit of the European stuff happening here. We've got the Merc up against the BMW.
Yeah, to listen to that BMW as it was going into the pits, and it definitely had a desired note to it. It's very different to what I've heard before. This looks like Corey coming out now in his standard Falcon, because Corey's one of the mechanics for the Aeroflow Performance team.
Okay.
The Rocket Industries.
Yep.
Works on the Nitro Funny Cars. And just coming out to see what his car will run tonight before he starts doing some mods to it.
You got to get a baseline, don't you?
Absolutely, but no, it's good to see a couple of guys from the Aeroflow Performance team out here.
Be nice to get a heap of them out here racing against each other, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be actually. Yeah. Of course, the No Prep Races Australia had their first round here at Sydney Dragway on the weekend, and seems like it was a very, very good round. I spoke to Michael Riches, who was down in the pits. He said he absolutely loved it. Had an absolute ball. So congratulations to Simon Krieger, Johnny Habib. Obviously they're the two that are mainly behind it.
Yep.
In charge of it. Of course a lot of the other races as well. Let's see, the Bushman is making his way up, so I'll be departing the commentary box very, very soon.
Yeah, it'd be good to get a little bit of a feedback on that No Prep Racing. Like, those guys definitely know how to put a meeting on. So I reckon it would have been some good times out of those cars.
And I think the No Prep side of it too adds that extra element of setting a car up, trying to make it stick in the first 60 foot of the racetrack. Otherwise, you only go to 200 metres, so it's not easy.
No, not at all. And it's a lot of driving skill in it as well. Like you think you got that much horsepower. Usually, you know, on a fully prepped track, the guys are still chasing it. So, you know, on an unprepped track, it'd be like skating on ice.
Yeah, it's interesting how a few of them said once they put a set of new slicks on the rear end of it, they settled down a little bit and actually got out of the hole better.
Oh,
so
okay,
that was really interesting. But down on track now, we've got the Audi RS3 taking on the Nissan Silvia. The Audi is out of there. 1.85 in the 60 versus 2.88 in the 60. A nice 11.19 and a lot of smoke out the back of the Audi in the braking area. That's not what you want to see on your first pass out, but that's motorsport.
Yeah, when you let that stuff out, they cost you money.
Oh yeah, and there's a fair bit of smoke coming out of it. You can see on our big screen, probably via your live stream, the amount of smoke that is coming out of that Audi as he goes around through the deep end.
Yeah, as soon as he got off it, crossing the line, that's, yep.
So have our finish line team just have a good hard long look at the track. They'll also check the car when it gets around the corner and stops, and they'll have a look at it. But tonight is kind of interesting for me because back when I first started here at Sydney Dragway, it really kind of makes you feel old. But you know, there's a guy, young fella. He used to come to the drag strip every night with his dad.
Yep.
He used to sit up in the stands. He absolutely loved his racing. And now he's an official here at Sydney Dragway, and he's like 6 foot something tall, and it's just like, man. I remember you when you're like that. And then, of course, Josh Howarth, who we know through Burnouts. Obviously, I knew Josh when he was very, very young. He's now track walking at Sector 1, which is getting a bit of training. So, yeah, don't want to show my age too much, but... well, guys, I'm going to be out of the box. The Bushman has arrived. I'm going to go cause havoc, do what I do best.
All right, mate.
I will. So you're lucky you got the serious one with you tonight.
Well, we can still get into it.
Oh, yeah. You can get him laughing. I'm staying out of it. I'm going downstairs. Bye.
See ya, mate. Bushman.
Long time no speak, Mark. How are we?
Oh, mate, absolutely sensational.
What a fantastic afternoon we have here at Sydney Dragway. Lots of smoke out of the Chevelle, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is it, yes, it's one wheel.
Yep.
That's good. I was kind of thinking at the minute it was out of one of the pipes because it's got twin pipes on it. Looks like we've got Smoker Joe down there in the Rocket Lane, Mark.
Yeah, well, I think Joe might be back with no blower belt on.
Okay, as I noticed he's been running a little bit slower the last week or so. But still coming with the lights. 04 on the tree this time around. So I assume he's running into the gym or something.
I think so. We haven't had a chance to grab hold of him, but now we've got Stu wandering, so I think that might be Stewie's first little work to do.
Yep, assignment.
Well, 11.8, 116 miles an hour. So, yeah, for Joe, that's way off.
It's going to be almost an
yeah, it would be. Yeah, Joe's been known to get down into the 8s at 150 plus.
Yep, certainly gets on down pretty well. Sounds like we've got a supercharged, I'm guessing LSA in the Commodore Ute on the start line. I think Dave Muscat's little Mini is going to have its work cut out for it. Although he tried on the light, but it's a pretty decent red light. 167 on the tree there.
So that's why he's trying hard.
See, the paperwork tells me that tonight the jackpot is a cool $1,500, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. So plenty of time to get on down here to Sydney Dragway if you're on the Facebook and YouTube streams, and talk about coming down to the Dragway. There's no excuse tonight. The sun's out. It's warm. Plenty of spots in the staging lanes for plenty of runs tonight. Plenty of shots at that $1,500, which of course is our jackpot. Have to cut the 000 light to get it, and it's the first of the night with Yep. They will be awarded the prize.
I think that Nova actually might have been tyre scrape.
Oh, and the guards.
Yeah, because the chrome wheel arch mould is half hanging off. Yeah, well, it's right because it's going to like this
twist over.
Yeah. So might have to do a quick roll of the guards.
Yes.
Get the big hammer out.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what he planned on doing. What he planned on doing when he turned up this afternoon. On the start line now, we've got the FG Falcon taking on the Fiat in the Aeroflow lane. The Fiat, not its first time here at Sydney Dragway. We've seen it a couple of times in the recent past. Was at the first round of the track championship series here at Sydney Dragway. Took Pat Elliott's attention because he likes that sort of fast Euro stuff. And of course, this little Fiat apparently somewhat special in its branding, but a 1086 with a 129 mile an hour for the 1536 at 90 mile an hour. So got a good speed on it for the 15.3.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing maybe a little bit of wheel spin or something on the start line, perhaps. But yeah, I believe Fiat brought out a number of different, I'll say, sportier models that are pretty rare here, and he did say off air roughly what that car's worth. And yeah, it's a Fiat lover's car.
Wow.
That way.
Okay.
But I don't mind the new Fiat. I think they're a pretty cool car.
All right, just a few words from our starter down on the line, and just to all the people, all the competitors out there, just make sure that before you go through the tunnel, everything's done up, helmet's done up, sleeves are pulled down, windows are wound up, air conditioning's off. Just all prepared to just go through. And one thing to remember as well, keep your eye on the staff. So they will wave you on when they want you to move forward. They'll point where you need to go. Don't take it upon yourself, because they will direct you when it's safe to do so. So just keep that one in mind. So the battle of the EF Falcons. Well, 14.891 miles an hour to a 15.8 at 87 miles an hour.
Well, it's great to see one of the Commodores down here out of the High Comp stable.
Yeah.
Too quick.
That's got a lot of modifications on it, Stu.
Yeah, it sounds like it's got a turbo on it. A little bit of help from Fentech Stain Machinery as well for this car.
Well, 9.43 mid-track. But these guys pretty much side by side, 16 to 85 miles an hour for the Rocket Lane, and 16.9 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane.
Yeah, it's a definitive pop out of that car at about 330 foot into that white VX. So,
Okay.
don't know whether he's just erred on the side of caution, just eased it through the finishing line, because I would have expected just a little bit quicker than that.
Might be just feeling the track out a bit, Stu. Well, nice strong burnout from both cars.
Yes, there is a little Honda Civic in the smoke somewhere down there. But of course, the Honda being front-wheel drive buries itself in its own smoke. But we do have a little bit of a breeze blowing towards the west at the moment, which has cleared the start line nicely for us, Mark. We now got
Yes, it is.
nice clear view of the quarter mile. I reckon this little Honda is hiding something under the bonnet here. I'm sure we'll give the nothing just into second gear. He's not going to catch the Commodore though. And the Commodore runs through for a 12.21 with an 112 mile an hour. And I think the Honda out of the throttle rolls on through for 14.84.
Yeah, I think he got out of that way early.
Yeah.
It did start the little bit of a walk on the track. That was come on boost.
Like we're getting into our first round of motorcycles here tonight, and we have Michael Richards in the rocket lane, of course, on the extended swing arm bike. Ultimately hoping to get into the 8s at some point. He has done that at other racetracks.
Yeah, he has.
Straight down the centre of the rocket lane, 9,000, 147 mile an hour on that pass.
And 9.8 at 146 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane.
I'm happy because you went close to what I thought when he said he used to.
Yeah.
So it's good. Good step in the right direction. He was out last week, I think, but the weather was a little bit not so friendly. I bumped into him as I walked through the staging. He'd obviously looked at some sort of weather station.
Yep.
And said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get near that tonight. So obviously today a little bit better. Though there was a little precipitation around this morning, but well, certainly winds away there was.
Yep. Yeah, it's surprising how much the weather will affect the setup of your motorbike or car.
Probably the cars probably, sorry, the motorbikes probably, because they haven't got the capacity to overcome it.
Yep.
My bike is turbocharged, which effectively increases the capacity, so it decreases the weather's ultimate effect, but still, the weather does change and does have an effect. So 15.5 there for the Falcon rocket lane, and 14.25 for the Aeroflow lane.
We got the Falcon down here. It's got a passenger on board. This thing run a nice 10-second pass previously. Just having a few troubles bringing the thing up onto boost in the burnout.
Second round of fuel to catch the plane home, but
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Just, some pretty good racing, and yeah, everybody was super friendly. Like anyone we spoke to, I mean, as most drag racers are. But,
Yes.
you know, everybody we approached, they would, g'day mate, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So put on a pretty good show. There was, I don't know if you've seen any of the highlights. Unfortunately, Jeremy Callahan put that beautiful Camaro into a slow roll onto the roof. I couldn't hear that during racing there.
Yeah.
We couldn't hear what the issue was with it. It went left and right, and then all of a sudden it just went too far and rolled onto its roof.
Yep.
Skidded upside down. Didn't hit another wall, but I dare say the track crew, as good as they are, they probably did a little bit extra damage rolling back on it, because how do you flip it over? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, but
it's hard.
Unfortunately, one of the prettiest cars in drag racing, in my opinion. But just goes to show that the best laid plans don't always work.
They probably need to invest in the airbag.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they use on a lot of truck recoveries.
Yeah.
They put the big airbags over them, and as they flip over, they drop onto the bag.
Yep.
And then the bag slowly deflates down.
Pushes the air to the side.
Yeah.
But I didn't pay much attention. He got out virtually as the car stopped. I dare say there would have been some choice language, but
yeah,
the car virtually stopped and the door flew open, and he'd already undone his belt. So obviously, I think he was okay. There was a rider on a motorcycle did a big wheelie and came off the back.
Oh,
yeah, so he was down and out for a bit. But he's okay and didn't break any bones or anything like that. Of course, the bikes and cars can be repaired, but
They can, yep.
the damage to human bodies takes a little bit longer generally, and depending on age, it might even take longer again. But yeah, all in all, was a good weekend.
That's great.
I was a tad disappointed there was no English cars there. None.
Oh, really? Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow, okay.
Not even a Cortina, we sort of see Cortinas and Escorts in like Super Street and stuff like that here every now and then, but wasn't one in any category. Maybe the closest I got was an Anglia spindle on a dragster or an altered or something. It's probably as close as I got. But anyway.
I was driving around the city last week and I was following a trailer. I sort of went round him, and in front of him again there was another trailer, and it had an early Cortina GT, the very first one that came out.
Yep, nice.
And it was sort of in the middle of restoration.
Yes.
Yeah. Where's Bushy?
Yes.
He wrapped.
Yeah. Yes, well, I'll show you something off air. There was an alternative motive to going to Perth.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if I'll commit to it just yet. Yeah, I'll show you later.
Okay.
Wally Hoster down there in the Aeroflow lane doing a very low revving burnout out of the water, but letting loose as it comes forward, as he always does, likes to hang the rear out and get a little bit crossed up in the burnout. There was some guys doing some stunt riding on Harleys, Mark, and they were riding them like trail bikes.
Wow.
It was a little bit interesting at points. One guy was on like one of those road cruisers with the bag things. And so a nice light bike to be thrown around, doing the kneel stand on the back, like up, nearly dragging the bag on the ground. He liked doing big power burnouts, all crossed up. But,
yeah, well, they're a very, very heavy bike, so be throwing them around like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to get too off balance because you'd never recover it.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, the last couple of weeks, Dave Muscat is starting to get his eye back in on the reaction times. I wonder if he'll be the one to crack the first 000 tonight for that 1500.
Well, I can dare say he's going to be trying his hardest.
Close. 0.34 on this run. 1:02 red for the Falcon in the rocket.
Well, Falcon goes through 14.8 at 91 miles an hour.
And a 15.37 for the Mini. I'm going to be generous and say 89. Round up a little bit there for him.
Give him a little bit of a hand.
Yep. Another EL Falcon down there in the Aeroflow lane. So I'm taking on the Mercedes in the rocket.
Must be Falcon night tonight.
Yeah.
Got a heap of them.
As I said, guys, there's plenty of room down in the staging lanes. If you're thinking about heading out to Sydney Dragway or come down and want to do a little bit of trial and error with your car, by all means, come on down. There's plenty of time to get through scrutineering and the like. It's a good way to spend your Wednesday evening.
Yep.
If you haven't got a helmet, that's fine. We can now rent you one for the event. Other than that, all you need is covered shoes, long sleeve top and long pants.
Yep. You don't have to have a quick car.
Nope. You can come out and cut that 000 light with a very slow car if you're very good at guessing.
Yep.
Obviously, it's just a matter of picking when you need to mash the throttle and let your foot off the brake. Obviously, some cars react a little bit different to others. 0.31 on the tree for the Fiat. So certainly that would be top 5 from what I've seen so far tonight. And quick little car, but not in drag racing terms, not super fast. A 15.03 with an 8, 90 mile an hour across the finish line.
And 17.1 at 81 miles an hour for the rocket lane. But for the type of car, it is really quick.
It is really quick, yes. Unexpected in many ways. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the capacity of the little Fiat.
Nah.
Fiats. I wouldn't even know what the original ones were.
I think they run on baked beans or something, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Then they're probably not that generous to guys of yours and my size to get in or out of the mark.
No.
I passed a couple of them on the road just over. What is it? Knox Road. You come over the railway line.
Yes.
There was 2 of them doing a wedding. All really nicely restored, hubcaps and everything, and there's just the chauffeurs driving and thinking like, "Where's the wedding party going to go?" You know, like, as long as the seat can move right back, they're probably not too bad in the front. But yeah, they certainly do appeal, and I know they've done a couple of different shows. They've done restorations of the early Fiats, and they do look really good when done correctly. The dangerous thing about them, if you do like them, you can have about 4 to the 1 car spot of a normal car.
You're saying about the wedding thing. When I had my, had a black GTR Tirana.
Yes.
All normal for our 8 and all the gear in it.
Yeah.
And the young guy next door wanted me to take him to his formal, him and his girlfriend.
Yes.
But it had harnesses and a roll cage. And
oh, all right. So,
they had a lot of fun getting in and out of it.
Right. How did they go climbing under the...
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fun in the formal dress and all the suit and all the get-up.
But they wanted it right or wrong.
Yeah. Getting in's probably at least they could take their time doing that. It's the other end when they've got to get out.
That's right.
When everybody's watching. And of course your car would have been dead silent, I'm sure.
It was,
Yes, but of course this weekend we will be seeing roll drags on Friday night here at Sydney Dragway. 6 till 10.
Yep.
Then, okay. Just been told that event's been cancelled. I was not aware.
Oh, it's a shame.
My bad. I've obviously not seen the post. Then we have Day of the Drags on Saturday, which of course will be featuring some really cool racing if you're into your nostalgia type cars, muscle car, Aussie muscle cars, American muscle cars, hot rods, etc., etc. Fantastic day, very low-key, low-pressure day. There's usually plenty of runs on the board. If you like the old gasser style, big burnouts, and there'll be a hot rod show up here on the eastern mound.
Hey, Steve, I've got a question to ask you. If you're doing Day of the Drags and you're commentating, when do you get classified as being nostalgic?
I don't know, Stu. You and I are nostalgic because we're on the wrong side of 40.
Well, that's why I asked the question, because at times I feel nostalgic, especially when I see 2 young kids that I knew when they were very little that used to come here, and now they're giants. And one of them's at Sector 1, the other one's floating around somewhere. So, yeah, it makes me feel old.
Ah, well, what do you do, Stu? You're pretty active, mate. You're certainly not nostalgic.
Yeah, Josh, I'm talking about you, you know. He's going to get me back for that, by the way, too.
Sure
Hope
he will.
everybody's up in the crowd. Now, guys, we don't have any racing going on at the moment because we're just doing a quick clean-up down the end of the track. But don't forget, if you're hungry, guys, make sure you do grab yourself something to eat. And don't forget Denise's Donuts up the top. They are sensational. Go up and grab yourself a pack. Sit down and munch on those. But we won't be too far away from going back to racing. Looks like the tractor has departed down the deep end. Obviously something that they've spotted. We do err on the side of safety. But look, get on the phone to your friends, guys, because as I mentioned, $1,500 up for grabs tonight for the first person to crack a 000. Now, I was down in the pits earlier, and I just caught up with Mark Duskalakis, who's out the back from PSC Racing. Mark's actually helping out with that turboed ute, which is getting off it at around half track. And, you know, I was just talking to him, and, a few little words, a few little comments. Aidan Stutchbury's racing tonight, and I hear, Steve, that he's pretty good on the lights at our New South Wales State Champ rounds. So he's a possibility to get the 000, but then again, we could have a first timer come out, someone that's never raced before and fluke it.
wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
Absolutely not. So tell you what, guys, the sun is shining, the weather's fine. Get in touch with your mates. Tell them to come down. We've got burnouts on a little bit later as well. We've got a burnout car which is already out the back. They'll be gearing up, ready to hit the pad after 9 o'clock.
Yes, we've had some pretty good skids on the burnout pad of late. So I'm just looking at the info for the day of the drags, of course, which, as I mentioned, 8th of March here at Sydney Dragway. We will also be featuring the Outlaw Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars shoe. So if you like your funny cars, especially with that funny yellow fuel in it, which makes the big flames and the big bang and that
burns your eyes.
And burns your eyes.
That's when you know you're having fun.
Yeah, what do they say? Fixes all that ails you.
You love that, Mark.
Yeah, get out to
Absolutely.
Sydney Dragway on Saturday for the Day of the Drags 2025.
Yeah, I did see Fen on Facebook doing a bit of preparation on his front engine dragster, getting ready for Day of the Drags, because he's got that supercharged front engine dragster, the Gambler. Beautiful looking car, that one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while we just let our track crew finalise the clean up in the top end of the racetrack, Mark, Stu and I'll just throw to our big screen for a couple of words from some of our sponsorship partners here at Sydney Dragway. We'll be back with you very, very shortly. What are the chances of that happening, Mark? It happens nearly every time. we infill and then throw to some ads and we get one ad and we're done. Anyway, those things are to test us. Of course, we'll come back to some ads from some of our sponsorship partners a little bit later on in the evening. Of course.
We have the Red Falcon back out again, up against the VZ Commodore. Have a listen to this Falcon going down the track. And a little thought that it seems like it's a little bit over
in the stall. Doesn't sound like it's locking up, is it?
No. He run first pass was in a 10. Then it's just started to come back from there. But 11-0, 124 for the Falcon. And 16-1 for the Commodore.
Hey, Mark, I've got some news for you.
Yeah, mate.
Well, Brian obviously can't drive the car tonight, his car, because apparently I just talked to Sammy Joe. He's actually in Mudgee's watching the live stream.
Okay.
But apparently they've got the nitrous hooked up tonight.
Ah, wow.
So Sammy's hoping that it'll run a 10 straight off the bat. But I can tell you that Brett Stuchbury just came over and said g'day to me. They've dialed in racing. Of course, they're here. That's Sammy Joe, and Aidan Stuchbury's here as well. How are you, brother?
Yourself?
Good, mate. Hey, I haven't seen you drive this thing for a while.
It's the first time in the car.
You excited?
Oh yeah.
All right, Aidan's pretty pumped. Hey, the Fentech Stone Machinery and High Comp Performance Engines and Tuning, Commodore is back, so not sure what happened there, Mark, but obviously it was nothing major because they've got the car back and it'll be coming out very, very soon. But it's great to see a few
Yeah, it is absolutely indeed. It's great when the some of these garages get a team of their guys out here racing their cars.
Yeah, well, it certainly helps when you've got people by your side that are happy to help you, in terms of friends and bits and pieces. It's, to work together to keep the car running as it should, and also to maybe suggest small improvements or large improvements that might help you get down the racetrack.
Yeah.
Because, that way you can pool your experience rather than sort of making it an individual.
Yeah, what's good, like you're saying, that if you're running a car down there, someone sitting outside, you can hear a lot, you can see a lot, so yeah. Okay, let's see what the Commodore has got for us. Oh, big purge of nitrous.
Oh, Steve, I've got to do it, mate. The Matty Kavanagh, the purge. That's like Matty Kavanagh's like standard, isn't it? He does a lot better than I do.
That wasn't bad, Stu. Pretty good. Oh, Sammy. Club Sport in the Aeroflow lane at 12.69 with a 121 mile an hour through the finish line.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, it's Steve. Sammy Jo just reversing back and she thinks she snapped the CV.
Yeah, she left the start line. I don't recall hearing a click or a bang.
No.
But, she's broken enough CVs, characters, etc. in the drop line of Commodores to know that what that feels like. So she stopped immediately, selected reverse and rolled on back. Dare say
still under, so it's still driving. But yeah, it is a weak point on those rear ends, especially now they're just nitrous-ed.
I was just going to say the LS is making too much power. But yeah, so unfortunately, dare say. But I guess potentially throw that in.
You know what? You wouldn't leave home without it.
I guess not, especially with the nitrous setup on there. I don't know how much, what size kit they've put in, but yeah.
You know. Well, if you're going to kill it, you might as well make it big.
I'm not going 6 shots, Mark. Come on. It's a bit over the top. It's a street car.
Just a quick full shot would be fine.
One of the cars that was in personal Mazda 100, I think he said it was an ex-Sydney car, but beautifully presented. So obviously the shiny things.
Yep.
So it was walking and talking to him, it's got like an 88mm turbo on it.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, I've got a 75 shot of nitrous just to get boost. Just to spool the turbo on.
Jeez.
But this thing, it was running 720s, I think it was, in Top Sportsman, yeah. Yeah, so pretty sure it was 720s. Running his own, like they're developing their own, like a lock-up style converter for their, I think he's had a turbo 400 in it, I think.
Okay, yep.
Which is a little bit different for Mazda, I dare say. But yeah, pretty cool little car. Got some pretty good crowd support as well, which is good.
Yeah, like those, that would be an absolute handful, that much horsepower on a short wheelbase car.
Well, I figure, my thought is if the car runs straight, it doesn't matter. It's only when it gets out of the when everything happens quickly.
It does.
Preempt what it's going to do, especially those little cars are only like 94 inch wheelbase or something like that.
Yep, absolutely. It's exactly what you said. When it happens really quick.
But then I guess you learn pretty quick where you like to think you learn pretty quick where the get out is.
Yeah, the moment you come off central, off it.
I'm tapping out. There's that white flag. It's confidence in my ability, Mark. 0. 0509 for the rider in the rocket lane on that pass. And Wally Hofstra in the Aeroflow lane there went a 966 with a 6 with an 079 on the start line. Solid in the rocket lane. Of course, the Aeroflow race for real, not just for cars on a Wednesday night. We also cater for the motorcycles as well. Our next bike night coming up at the end of March, Mark, the 28th. Friday the 28th here at Eastern Creek, Sydney Dragway.
Big night.
Yeah, the last couple have been really well supported in both crowds and also rider numbers, which is fantastic to see.
Oh, Dave slowly whittling his reaction down.
Yeah. What did he go before, an 031 or something?
Yes, yep.
Well, Stephen, Mark, and everybody on Facebook, hold the phone because a car has just made its way around the corner into scrutineering. You'll never guess who it is, Steve. It is Ross the Boss is back with his new XD or XE Falcon drag car.
Oh, wow.
Ross
Cool.
the Boss.
We've been talking about this for a long time.
Cannot wait to see this thing hit the track. It looks mean, boys.
Excellent. Well, that's good news to get. Joe will be grateful to have someone to race regularly now.
Yep.
Of course, Ross's car may have a few teething issues. So pressure on him tonight.
I think tonight's going to be just a few launches and just a few test passes before we see any full noise out of it.
All right, a battle of the hatches this time around. I dare say these two races are prepping for next week's, not so much the Golf, but the Honda at least, the Honda versus Haters theme night, which is next Wednesday, the 12th of March here at Sydney Dragway. The title's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah. Tells the whole story.
It's Honda versus the world.
Well,
but we both know we've seen plenty of quick Hondas here at Sydney
we have.
Dragway over the years.
Yes.
They have a very good ability of mile-an-houring, if that's even a word, big mile an hour for the ET that they run, which makes it very hard for the competitors. It's hard to pick the gap at the finish line, but you know we've seen some of these cars run speeds that a second quicker than what the ET represents, which to anybody that knows drag racing, speed is what shows the horsepower.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen a couple of them that have crossed the line at 140 miles an hour.
Yeah. Street cars.
Street cars.
Big speed for any street car. Then
one of them's a young lady that pedalled that car for a long time.
Prestige racing down the quarter mile here, right now in front of us. The Mercedes over there in the rocket lane, neck and neck with the Beamer across the finish line. Only a 10th across the finish line in ET, but the Merc was a lot better off the start line with the reaction time. A 10.74 with a 2, 125 for the Beamer, to an 11.95 and 116 for the Mercedes SUV.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind a sub-12-second SUV to drive to work, mate.
Would be okay, wouldn't it? Get to work easy and quick.
Yes. Ford versus Holden on the start line in this one.
Do indeed. Got the CMV Performance sticker on the back of the ute.
So I think that's the other thing Rusty might say. But out of the throttle, rolls on through for a 16.69. And Commodore in the rocket lane, a 16.35.
With the RX-7 down in our rocket lane, Stewie will be just dribbling in the bow for the moment. Loves his Masters. The S Commodore straight down to the start line.
You know what, being disrespectful to anybody that likes these series of RX-7s, then some of them are not that expensive in comparison to when you look at like the RX-2s, R100s, and the sedans. Some of the early RX-7s, you know, from a classic car, I think it's still
wow, really?
For ones that appear to be reasonably good in condition, looking at photos, like I'm saying, I'm walking around them with a magnet, poking chassis rails. Sporty/collectible, that sort of price range, you don't get much for your money in other marks of car for 25, 30 grand. I don't think anyway.
Well, that's really surprising. And I don't really mind the RX-7s.
No,
the early ones.
I don't either. I mean, if I was to buy one, RX2, RX3, they're out of the budget now, but it is what it is.
You got to look at 100 plus on one of those things.
12 at 1.6 with a 112 mile an hour for the rocket lane on that one.
And 15.484 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane. Got the VP Commodore.
Yep, it's got the old school.
Clean, tidy one too.
Yeah, it's got the old school Venetians in it too, Mark. It's got the big white front wheels on it, and I dare say he's got the burnout tyres on the back. Or the race tyres, I should say, the ones he's not too scared about.
Oh, jeez, it cuts it.
Yeah, wow.
1-1.
That's probably, is it one of the best we've seen tonight?
That's the best
top,
we've seen so
yeah, I think top of the tree so far, but of course it needs to be a 000 mark for the $1,500 jackpot to be handed to you.
Yep, if you want payday, you got to work hard.
Yep. Making their way down the quarter mile, the rocket lane out in front at the moment. And runs on through for a 12.12 with a 6, 110 mile an hour. I know what you're up and about.
Yeah.
I can see it in the staging lanes, Mark. I know you're not one-eyed at all, unlike our other commentator, Les Binkhurst, is only eyes for Chrysler, pretty much.
Actually seen it in the pits. It was between two cars. I sort of drove past and broke my neck when I seen the supercharger in the bonnet.
Well, I know the car, I was saying to Spud earlier, he's down there with the Falcon that's running tonight. I know the car's run before, I think into the North as well. Into San too.
Yep.
That's another thing. And I'll be doing definitely a tough car. Just drive down there on the can and watch the fuel gauge disappear.
You definitely got to have one of those cans that's got lobes as big as Mount Everest.
There was a couple of blown, ended up 7 seconds. Cavassini, I'm sure you're aware of that car,
Yes.
Black 34.
Yeah.
You can hear him coming a mile away. He's rom on the cam as it comes down the valley into popping head. Yeah, wasn't quite the same on the way out. Those there know what I'm talking about on the way out, but on the way in he was somewhat well behaved.
Yeah.
The Subaru driver getting all spirited on the start line.
Yeah.
ready to go, but unfortunately. Holding its own mark. I thought he was going to get there by a tenth of a second. It looked closer than that from this vantage point. The Subaru gave away a little bit, 11.13 with a 7, 130 mile an hour, and yet the Mercedes was only 115. And the Subi looked like it only just got around him at the top end. That's a big speed for a road car at 11.1, I think it was. At 130 mile an hour, that tells me that that speed, would usually be a low 10. Yeah, and the driver certainly giving it plenty off the start line. Wasn't afraid of that dreaded, the issues that do plague Subarus here at Sydney Dragway. Let's see what happens there as the rest of the night unfolds.
Oh yeah. Wasted a lot of time off the line, so I think as the night goes on, he'll get his head around that a bit better.
On the start
well,
line.
Mark, sorry, Mark, so just been down to the pits.
Yes.
Sammy Joe's just on her way home to try and go apart. They are going to try and fix the Commodore to get it back out. They're going to try. And down in the scrutineering shed, Steve, they just had Ross's new car on the weight, and it's just over 2 tonne.
Okay.
So
what did the Cordy weigh, I wonder?
Yeah, it's running the same gear as what he had in the Cortina.
You said that when I was talking to you about the thing, to get it, put a nice centre in it and some good axles.
You can get the big axles now. You can get the gears, true track centre, and you're going to drop a little away.
Of course, that's one of the easiest ways to get quicker down the racetracks. Reduce the mass that you've got to move off the start line. 6-0, 92 mile an hour for the Rocket Lane. We'll take that one.
And 17.1 at 86 miles an hour for the Aeroflow Lane.
I forget to mention too, boys. Ross has just told me too. He's not going to be doing any full passes. He's mainly just going to be doing a whole heap of launches and maybe a half-track hit just to set that car up. So I don't expect to see anything full on down the corner.
Well, that means he can still crack a 000. I mean, I'm not going to go easy on it there.
No. Yeah, he said that. I reckon it's going to be a lot of testing. And at the end of the night, oops, we went flat out all the way.
Oh dear.
You got it all tonight.
How long's he been building the car?
Been a while. Well, he was still racing it.
Yes,
while he was building it, yeah.
Maybe just seemed longer because you and Stu have been talking about it. So.
It'll be now interesting to see when he gets the Cortina finished, because that's going back to road specs.
Over there in the Aeroflow lane this time around. Straight down the centre of the lane. And we'll get there with a 10.78, 130 mile an hour this time.
And 16.1, 85 miles an hour for the Rocket Lane.
Hey Mark, I was wondering if you want to swap positions because your favourite Tirana's about to come out.
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting.
And I'm standing down here. I can see the grin through the window there, mate.
Mate, you should see the dribble on the desk.
Well, you're sitting next to him, so you can deal with that tonight, Mark.
Yeah, thanks.
You know, I can also see Adam there getting a bit, loosened up. He's ready for a big shot of GM power.
All right, our little Mazda RX-7 back out for another shot at the Christmas tree, this time taking on the Club Sport over there in the Rocket Lane.
Down in the Aeroflow lane, up against Joe Savello. I'd love to know if that's the old Penrith Smash car.
It's built similarly in its stance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit darker red. It's actually just a little bit of offset on it. Yep.
If it's the car, I'm thinking they did have a little bit of an issue or two when they came out with some test and tune a little while ago.
Okay.
But I'm fairly certain they did get that sorted by the end of the afternoon and ran some pretty strong numbers. But certainly means the business got the parachute on the back and the wing. That's if the big and ugly injector hat doesn't tell you half the story. That's usually a pretty obvious one.
Yeah.
It's not a shy way to get the air into the engine, but that way, especially when it's chrome. Well, let's hope Marcus Tirana can come back out in not too longer time and get a good run for the evening.
Tell you what, it is pretty serious. Looks like it's got the air shift in there and everything. Oxygen bottle in the back.
It's a drink, Mark. Right, moving back into our next round of motorcycles, our first pair in the box. Oh, look, there's that bike from Perth. He was doing big burners like that, except he had full opposite lock and leaning the other way. It was really good. I would have hated to have seen him get off it. There's our Tirana. Very well framed up there, Adam. For our Aeroflow racer. 9 at 108 miles an hour. Our next pair rolling up to the start line. We've got Michael Richards in the Rocket Lane.
That bike sitting right in the rubber spot. Tire marks. Yep.
There we go, an 889 with a 0, 146 mile an hour from Michael. I'm sure he'll be wrapped with that. 084 on the tree. And our rider in the Aeroflow lane, Mark, and 046 on the tree.
Yeah, absolutely. 9.7, 147 miles an hour. So two very quick bikes.
Yes, good to see. Speaking of bikes, they had at Perth they had 9 junior drag bikes, which was
That is really impressive.
They had their own version of Josh Burtonshaw, which is of course our local racer here. Loved doing massive burnouts. One of the commentators compared it to a modified bike. That's how big it was. And then I think the juniors had 23 or 24 entries, so again a good field. It was kids racing from everywhere. Queensland, Victoria. Didn't see anybody from. Oh no, I think Nixon. I'm not sure if Nixon Canoodle is from Queensland or Sydney. That's terrible. Yeah, he was there. He ended up winning. He took home the Australian. Yeah, but again, some good racing going on there across all the subcategories of junior as well. The sports sprint categories reasonably well supported. There was, as you know, a bit of a van for the front engine cars. There was a couple of supercharged cars in modified eliminator. Loved the Conor McClure Corvette.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool. He went 617.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, certainly. They had their fair share. They split the sump on Friday night. I'm not sure how you do that, but yeah, they had to do some repairs. But very nice little car, the way it's put together. And as soon as I I've watched that car at all live, but I said to Dad, as soon as he left the start line, Dad said, "Mike, that's on a number."
Yeah.
And 617. Of course, I think twin turbo big block and everything. But, yeah, pretty cool. There was another racer getting his license in a twin turbo Hemi Mustang.
Okay.
Yeah. So watch this space. It was quite a very nicely well presented. The car's orange, like a burnt orange metallic.
Yep.
And everything in the engine was like black anodized.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some really good cars that are up and coming.
Yeah.
And it's great to see the juniors going like they are in the growth, because they're all future racers, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that I think the comp classes in Perth are very strong as well. So you Group 2 index racing with the Dragsters and Altons, in my view, it has always been fairly strong in the Western States. And one of the racers there was running a blown altered, and he was out of juniors. It was his first meeting in that car. I was like, wow, that's a step and a half.
Isn't it? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So getting finished his racing in juniors, stepping into a supercharged altered. I'm guessing we'll run into the sixes eventually. Looked like it had a so yeah, watch this space. But of course, we've seen plenty of champions come out of junior dragster in all of our professional categories.
Yep.
Some race overseas. Australian champions.
Heat better, 1.8, 11.0, 130 miles an hour, so the miles an hour way up. 12.8, 111 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane. But yeah, that Subaru, that's just going to go quick.
Yeah, good to see. We don't normally see a huge number of modified Subarus, not like the Lancers, the Evo Lancers, and that seem to be a little bit more popular with the 4G63, but you've got to baby them off the start line too.
Yep.
Otherwise the drive lines don't like it. 031.
Had it all planned.
Yeah, right, I did.
Marking statement down in the staging lanes. And I did mention that
train and a little, suspension work and just, do slow passes, make sure it brakes and stops and does what it's supposed to do. No.
Well, mate, you were telling us before you went away with the Cortina, you're telling us you were going to run a similar engine combination to what you're running in the Cortina. Is it the same motor, or have you done something else to it?
Exactly the same. Everything's the same. Motor's just been freshened up, gearbox been freshened up. The only thing that's new in it is the diff housing. So, all out of the Cortina.
Because those wheels look bigger than old tyre combination, look a lot bigger than what you had on the Cortina.
Yeah. Well, they're 32, 14, 15s, and the Cortina only had 28 by 10.5, 15s.
You got enough power to spin them?
Coming from a Holden man.
Drops the bomb and walks away.
Yeah, it should be plenty of it. Enough horsepower there.
Well, I did mention to the boys that you had it on the scales and it weighs just over 2 tonnes. Is that what you were expecting, or were you expecting a little bit lighter?
No, I thought it was going to be heavier than that. The Cortina weighed 3250 and it was running on, 9.7s, 9.8s. So this is like 2,000 kilos, so hopefully it should run a bit quicker.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can see that Joe's pretty interested in it. He's pacing around. It's almost like Mark that he wants one. Do you want one of these?
Mate, do I look like a Ford man? Come on, I'm a Holden man. I would never run a Ford.
But you got to say, it looks fantastic though, doesn't it?
No, it looks good. He's done a good job. I'm very happy with it. It looks good. Let's hope that it goes down the track and gives me some competition.
Well, Ross, so tell me, man, what was the biggest headache about building the car?
Just the time you got to get into it. Yeah. It's just time. Everything you do, everything's modified. It just takes time. So it was supposed to be finished by last Christmas, but I just didn't have enough time. And I think I told you that it was going to be finished, and then it took another 12 months to finish it. So, but it's pretty close now. Yeah.
All right, Ross, well, let's get suited up and look forward to seeing the car out there. Back to you two.
Thanks, SG. Well, that does look really trick, that car. So, hope it tests well for him.
Well, we'll find out in a very short amount of time. That I think that lane's the next one out.
Yep.
Run down. A little bit of movement around again at half track mark, but stayed in the throttle this time. On the brakes at 1,000 though. 11:37 with a
10.8, 125 from the BMW.
Yes, wow. Hyundai taking on the Commodore in the rocket lane this time around.
Well, Ross picked a good night too, so he's going to get plenty of passes in.
Yes.
Now, apart from getting the car right, it's Ross himself too, getting used to the car.
Yeah, well, there'll be some changes, even though he's probably familiar with the drive. But he was used to that, so the way that the car reacted and the way that the car left the start line was really consistently the same way. So he didn't get worried that the car was going over to the right, because it's just what it did. Yep. Now jumping into the Falcon, he's got to remember that where he feels comfortable with the car doing whatever he wants to.
160. Go through 12.0, 112 miles an hour to a 12.6, 118 miles.
Aiden's Dutchbury, our next racer out. Rocket Lane running for Dialed In Racing. Taking on this utility E, the Aeroflow lane.
The HSV all yet?
Supercharged with the Stu said it's got a hairdryer on it, is that correct? One of the Super Street cars is running unless they have
Yep. Backs out of that real early, 11.2, 85 miles an hour. And the Ute 15.5 at 69 miles an hour. No, not at all.
Let's see what Ross Bilby can do in his new Falcon down there in the Aeroflow lane. Down the turn to the right. Just rolls on through for an 18-second pass.
The next pass needs to put a lot more heat in those. Yeah. So your brand spanking new tyres.
You typically do a big burnout with new slicks, haven't you?
Yep. Bikes. Cruiser. Now Rocket Lane.
What would you play in the stereo driving down the quarter?
Highway to Hell.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Hey! This road too.
I was looking at the reaction time, 008.
Oh, that's it. Well picked up, Stu. That's I think our best for the night so far.
008 with a wheel stand.
Yes. Runs on through for an 11.84 with a 109 mile an hour. And next bear straight up to the start line. 144 line in Rocket Lane. Out in front at the moment. It stays that way. 11.14 with a 127 mile an hour across the finish line.
And 13.8, 97 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane. We've got a couple of hill platers out here tonight. Having some fun, it's good.
Well, I mean, let's face it, there's nowhere on New South Wales roads where you can legally open any motorcycle up. So you might as well do it at a racetrack. And if you truly want to test how fast you go in a straight line, it's the best place to do it. Of course, your requirements to ride the motorcycle here from a safety point of view are no different to what you should wear when you're riding them on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, so do I.
12.18 with the 7, 109 mile an hour through the finish line.
And 14.3 at 98 miles an hour.
Well, Wally Hoster back this this week on his trusty steed is Suzuki. Last week Mark was riding the 400, 0.001 reaction time, was oh so close to the 000. I asked him down in the pits what's the big difference between riding this bike compared to the Hayabusa. All he told me was this one is a lot harder to ride than the Burzai.
Okay, that's interesting.
I guess probably what less torque off the start line, perhaps, so more RPM.
Not sure.
But it's great to see some sponsors on that bike as well. Of course, Brox, who do a number of components for motorcycles through drag racing. Of course, VP Race Fuels, BC Performance, which are down at North Parramatta. Very, very good bike workshop. They don't just do, well, get involved with drag racing through Wally, but they also do a lot of circuit work as well. Always drive past their workshop, boys. They've got bikes everywhere in that workshop.
Nice light from Wally there. 1.028 on the tree. And a 919 with a 6. 157 miles an hour. By far the quickest speed we've seen tonight.
Absolutely.
This is a really good segue, boys, into the next fleet line. Next fleet line coming up in the not too distant future will be a Honda versus Haters night. And it's good to have a Honda Civic Type R out here tonight, having a little bit of fun here at Aeroflow Race for Real.
Yes, the second of the Hondas that I've seen here tonight.
Yeah.
It's running okay now, but the hatch in the Aeroflow lane certainly going to take the win here. 11.53 with a 2, 121 mile an hour, but a 13.29 for the Honda at 124. Surprise, surprise, a mile an hour.
Yeah. VTEC.
Yo.
Yes. We might go up to the big screen, get a few words from some of our sponsors, and we will be back very, very shortly here. Aeroflow, Race for Real.
I've chosen to use VP Racing Fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP Racing Fuels.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up and not, a lot of it has to do with the race fuel, and that's what we rely on, VP Racing Fuels.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
Drag racing is not just about the horsepower. There is also some cool science at play right here on the racetrack. These drag strips aren't just regular concrete. We treat it with a special kind of glue often referred to as traction compound. I usually twist my foot and it's all... This is designed to ramp up the traction of the track's surface. It's getting worse by the minute for us racers to go straight and fast. In drag racing, every millisecond counts. That's why the teams adjust the car's setup to suit the track conditions. Teams can assess the traction on the track by using this interesting device called a traction meter gauge. The bottom of the device has a rubber pad that mimics a racing slick. To measure the track's grip value, the user stands on the base, ensuring the rubber pad bonds with the racing surface. Turning the torque arm on the top of the device will rotate the rubber pad. When the bond breaks, the user will see a number on the dial. Teams can then use this number to help create baselines for grip within their respective setup.
A street car through to a race car, be sure to think of Aeroflow Performance. The ever-increasing range that started with just hose, fittings and fuel system components has grown to include boosted turbochargers, bang shift shifters, X-Pro ignition and electrical accessories, Bosch Motorsport products, fabrication parts, as well as driveline and engine components. With an exceptional distribution network and inventory, Aeroflow products are always within reach. With more to come in the future, be sure to keep an eye out at aeroflowperformance.com.
Bang shift shifters from Aeroflow Performance are truly the modern shifter for the modern age. Featuring a full bespoke billet case, all shifters are designed for right-hand drive vehicles with an LED lit gear position indicator. Available in either ratchet or gated options, as well as OEM replacement shifters for popular Holden and Ford vehicles. A large range of bang shift spares are available for each shifter that includes shifter cables, brackets, lever and gate kits, trans brake buttons and drop boxes for the ideal mounting solution. Shift into gear and check out a full listing at aeroflowperformance.com.
How would it be if we funded a pilot program for you to run that enabled you to bring some vision impaired kids onto the Saints Play program?
Oh wow, that would mean the world. My reward is the smile on the kids' faces.
And since you've given so much to others, we'd also like to do something for you personally. How would it feel if Pepper sent you, your partner, and your daughter Molly to the Gold Coast for a few days?
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what to say. It amazes me. Thank you very much.
Mark, is this van that you were talking to me about the other week? Well, it's great to see a couple of L-platers on their bikes out here having a bit of fun drag racing and also getting used to their bike. The big Kawasaki, can't hear the rocket lane. Kawasaki FZ1 just making its way up to line. It's actually quite a nice looking bike, this one. It's really the first time I've stood back and actually had a close look at one of these. It looked like a fun bike. Actually, on the subject of bikes, I must say a big congratulations to Damien Muscat, winning over at the Western Nationals over in Perth, winning Top Fuel Motorcycle. Did a great job over there. It was a tough trip over with a lot of blown tyres on the truck, but you know what, they got over there and they got it done.
guys, we got the XF Ute down on the starting line up against the VW. Oh, Ute just moving round and clicked in the second gear. Back out of that one. 13.7, 65 miles an hour to a 12.0, 113 miles an hour. Definitely done the right thing. If your car starts moving around like that, you just ease on back out of it. Off the line. .6, 59 miles an hour for the Rocket Lane. 16.4, 94 miles an hour for the Aeroflow Lane. Well, good thing they've got the Audi all sorted out. Back out again for another pass. Up against the VZ Commodore. Audi on a great pass, 11 to 118 miles an hour. And 16.1, 86 miles an hour for the Commodore. Hyundai up against the WRX. Goes through 10.8, 133 miles an hour to a 13.8, 103 miles an hour. Well, that Rexy is going quicker and quicker with every pass. Two Skylines down on the line.
Watching that Subaru leave the start line mark, I think maybe a bit of suspension. It seemed to bounce a little bit on the rear shocks, I think, and then that unsettled the rear and did move around a fair bit, as you pointed out. So maybe some adjustment to the shocks might help that car 60 foot a little bit better.
Yeah, probably drop a bit of rebound out of it.
Yep. But certainly a step in the right direction. I think it's 3 mile an hour pickup and 2/10 or something like that. Yeah, so big improvement there.
Well, Mark and Steve, just a bit of news from down in the pits.
Yes.
First of all, Joe from Highcom is down in the pits, playing around with that turbo and LSX Commodore with the Fentech sponsored car. Now, tonight, they're just playing around with it. It's the first time it's been on the drag strip. It's done a little bit of roll racing, but it's the first time out here. Apparently, the answer is killer. So what he needs to do is put a little bit of anti-lag in it to try and get it off the line a little bit better. So they're working on that at the moment. Joe said they may not get it done tonight, but they're working on it. So the driver's excited. He is taking it easy though. He doesn't want to get booted out the first night. So he's only going to half track. It is running radials on it. And in other news, the dialed-in West Dutchbury is down with Sammy Joe. Sammy Joe's back with the parts. They've got the back end of the Commodore jacked up, so they're in the process of trying to fix those CV joints and get the Black Beast back out for another pass. First time on nitrous.
Good to see. I'm sure Robin's up there. Of course, Sammy Joe very, very capable of steering that car, but what are the chances your partner lends you the car and you break it on?
You virtually had to go home and get it, didn't you?
You'd want to be going by the time he gets back, that's for sure. It's all in good fun, Sammy.
Yep.
026 for the Commodore and the Rocket Lane. Nice leap off the start line. Mazda sticking with the Commodore. Only 2 tenths across the finish line behind.
Fairlane down in the Rocket Lane, up against the VS Commodore over in the Aeroflow lane. On a nice pass, 11 to 121 miles an hour, and 15 189 miles an hour for Fairlane.
So I just got told that this van
Okay.
I just got told by one of our staff members. Apparently there's a turbo motor that might be going in this van, as if it's not crazy enough.
What motor's in it, Stu? Did you get that?
I believe it's just an LS. I think it's just an LS.
Okay. No, come on, mate. You can't say that. Just an LS. It is an LS.
Sometimes people get very touchy about being blasé, I guess, but it's a later model high ace fan. A friend of mine from work, his brother runs a tour and he's already and has run at Sydney Dragway, but I don't. So yeah, we'll certainly get Phil's attention when he does get all the tuning sorted and and I guess in some ways the courage to leave the start line. And I'm not being rude by saying that. It certainly wouldn't be an easy car to leave off the start line.
No. Well, that's a lot stronger burnout for the Falcon.
Just idled on through at 12.71.
Yeah.
70 mile an hour.
Didn't leave the line too bad, but
yeah, sub 1.6, so nothing too wrong with that.
Got the little squiggle over to the line. I wonder if that was him or the car. Because it might have been the Cortina lag on.
Yeah. Well, he did say it has a new housing, but I dare say all the drive line and everything is. The same in terms of
to an 11-1.
All right, the Yamaha up against the Kawasaki.
the top of first, I think it was. I think, in my experience, sometimes the motorcycles, if you don't have enough weight over the rear end, they tend to want to not shift into the next gear. Well, that was certainly what an ex-pro bike rider told me.
Okay.
But that was a long time ago. But that's the first time I've ever seen that bike have any sort of issue.
Yeah.
He's done countless passes here at Sydney Dragway.
Yeah, there has been. Yeah, no, it's just
that bike.
absolutely flawless every time. Okay, we do have a car just down the bottom of the track. So we just, everything is okay.
Yep, got himself just
touched.
dipped his toe in the sand,
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
that's it. Just touched the beach. But yeah, everything's good. He just reversed back out, so that's fine. But it probably just make sure everything is okay with the driver and the car itself. All on the move, so all good.
Though looking at the marks, it would have gone a little bit more than only the rear wheel would have nearly been in, but I don't think it would have got out if he dropped the rear wheel into the sand as well. So just a reminder to all of our racers out there at Sydney Dragway, there's plenty of room to stop at the top end of the racetrack. The braking area is near 800 metres long. However, the racetrack finishes just at the timing boards that you can see there. You can see there's a small change in colour, like a concrete strip as you go across where the exit gate is. That's the finish line. There's no need to continue accelerating up the hill because if you do, you might
Absolutely. So yeah, as soon as you do cross that concrete bit, ease out of it and start braking from there.
Yep, there's plenty of room to stop. It's just that corner comes up pretty quickly when you're still in the car.
Yes. Well, 10.6, 130 miles an hour for the Falcon, and 14.4, 100 miles an hour for the Rocket Lane.
So he's picked up another 2/10, yeah?
Yes.
He was running 10.8s on his first pass or thereabouts.
But miles an hour hasn't picked up.
No. I think that might be the converter that you're mentioning, perhaps. If it's only achieving so much percentage of drive. Nice pass for the Rocket Lane this time around, 11.31.
Big puff of smoke again.
That's no good.
Is that the grey Audi?
Yeah, it's
Rocket
the same
Lane.
car, Mark.
Same car again? Yep.
Yeah, same car again.
Okay. So what do you reckon it was, Adam? Cash can? Or overflowing? Yep.
You're hard at sync driving that car, seeing all the
Seeing
smoke.
that,
Yeah,
yes.
any car looking in the rear mirror and going, oh.
Tell you what, it must be breathing really heavy if it's overflowing. Because he would have cleaned that out and done. This is his second pass since then.
Certainly hanging around down at the top end of the racetrack
Yeah,
there. We're
it
just
is.
checking out the corner return road, and we've got an official on the racetrack at the finish line. Adam, producer's giving us the thumbs up. He's got the radio in the ear.
What did the part scratching his head mean? Oh, it's clean. It's been clean.
As long as we don't get burnt. Yeah. There's a couple of signs that we don't want to see, right?
Yeah.
You know he's upset with us. I hope you're enjoying the live stream if you're at home and or enjoying the racing action here. If you're at the venue, of course, we will have some burnouts on the burnout pad around 9 o'clock this evening. So I'm sure that all of our competitors are eagerly preparing their cars down in the pits for all the burnouts a little bit later on. And of course, we've got our Aeroflow Race for Real continuing on the drag strip here at Sydney Dragway this evening.
Talking about burnout cars, I think we've got one sitting in the burnout box down here at the moment.
Oh yes, he's already done one pass, I think.
It's good to see a couple of Skylines out here this week. Of course, last week Andrew Hawkins was out here racing the Mines R32. It's great to see a 33 to 34 here this week. First timer as well in the R34.
These ones that say sound fairly close to standard. A 1694 with a 682 mile, 1808. John, how are you? Officials, once upon a time, the Sydney Dragway. Good to see you on the stream. I hope you're enjoying the coverage and I hope you're well.
Well, 0 at 119 miles an hour. And 17.8 at 79 miles for the Aeroflow lane.
RX-7 taking on the fair lane this time around in the Aeroflow lane. Full Mazda already completed 3 or 4 runs already.
Yep.
Plenty of time to head out to the Sydney Dragway and get the car past your scooter, get out and get some runs down this evening. Showing the fair lane the way at the moment. And runs on through for a 12.29 with an 8.120 mile an hour at the top end. To a 15.15 with the fair lane. 88. Big burnouts from the 2 commercials here down on the start line. We've got the high ace fan and the Aeroflow. Over there in the rocket lane. No shortage of horsepower on board for the Maloo. And I dare say the highest fan's got a few more extra ponies under the right foot than what it left the Toyota factory with. With a different badge. And I tell you what, he's showing the Maloo the way right now. Oh, only just did the Maloo get around him. There was a much better reaction time for the high ace. A 12 flat for the Ute in the rocket lane to a 12.78. The Aeroflow. Happily take the Aeroflow because the air has to flow around it. I dare say there's so much more left in that Ute. I wonder what's happening there. Are they trying something new and therefore easing up on the working their way up to the compo, or what's going on? I'm not sure. Joseph below for another pass. 1.9 reaction time for him.
I dare say it is a new motor in his car. Joe pulls down, I think he does about 4 or 5 meetings charger just to bed that motor in. And he connects them all back up and then starts to put boost in.
Yes. He seems to do that like sort of once a year or thereabouts.
Yep.
Maybe once every 9 months or so. It's part of routine maintenance. Checks the bores and rings and bits and pieces. Because obviously running a boosted engine is a little bit more work than NA. And for the amount of runs that that thing gets, it's to do that maintenance. Otherwise, the effect is a lot costly. In the long run.
You're looking for longevity out of those engines. They're not cheap. And Joe seems to get them. He gets a good amount of time out of them. And lots and lots of passes.
With a 157 mile an hour for Wally Hoster. No gear change issues this time around. And 1172 with a 109 miles now for the rider in the Aeroflow lane. Yeah, we saw the big switch in modified in my view, where they all started to go into a bigger cube motor, but also like Top Sportsman and that sort of thing. Now, like, it's quite rare to have someone with a small block 350, those sorts of things. So sort of 383s is a little more common, but then we're starting to see more of the like 632s and big cube stuff that makes bulk horsepower down low. Yes, they still have maintenance and wear, but the engine's not sitting on 12 grand, to make horsepower. So the longevity of the engine parts typically probably a little bit more, more part friendly, especially those a lot lower RPM.
Yeah, well, if you go back, like 10, 15 years, you had a lot of Capris and Holdens on the 355s, and Capris were getting into the 302s because they were small cubed, but really high revving.
Yes.
And that's what they're pulling all their power. And as you say, as time's gone on now, the people have gone the larger cubes.
Yes.
A lot more torque and everything that goes with a big cube motor.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes too the bore and stroke combos have a lot to do with longevity as well.
Yep.
The shorter stroke stuff tends to give the bore a lot more of a hard time.
Yes.
As they fire. But I mean, there's plenty of good motors out there now in factory form with little modification, give you good horsepower and good reliability in many ways. And if you do upgrade them, you don't have to spend a massive amount of money to make big horsepower gains over factory.
So many motors now are boosted, aren't they? Like where previously it was all about big heads, big cams, and
crank. Shark, it depends on the age of the car. I think there's a number of different
there is.
Requirements there. I think it's 1050 for a car with without airbags, and I think you can go 10.0 with airbags, and then there's a speed restriction there as well. I think it was 10.0 140 for a late model car with airbags and 4 discs. And then for an older car without airbags, I think it's like 130 mile an hour, rings a bell. Pretty sure that's the...
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
All we know is when we see the IHRA official walk over and have words, we know the car's gone too quick.
And walk away with a sticker.
Yeah, sometimes takes the sticker off. Sometimes there's a warning, is fair. Like if he's if the car's just too fast or close to the mark on both speed and mile an hour, there is some slow it down a bit.
Yep.
You know, but if there's times blatantly when they would know that the car's it's set to go quicker than what those speeds are. So yeah, that's the sticker. It's taken off. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's roughly the guidelines there, Shark, for what you're looking for. If you're lucky enough to own a car that goes close to either of those restrictions and it's street registered, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I dare say it would be on the website somewhere.
Yes, I should look that up actually.
Oh, wow, you're efficient.
Oh no, far from it, my friend.
Well, we're just having a quick bit of a clean up down on the track. Okay, so we're just having a quick clean up on the track. We might go up to the big screen and get a word from some of our sponsors, and we will be back with you very, very shortly.
BikeReview.com.au is Australia's leading website for performance and modified motorcycles. BikeReview.com.au is the only motorcycle-focused website to feature motorcycle drag racing on a regular basis. And in the words of editor Jeff Ware, our involvement with Sydney Dragway is our way of putting back into one of our favourite sports. BikeReview.com.au.
Bank said no to your home loan? Talk to us.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
I have this incredible drive to succeed. I've just got this ambition, I want to get on the podium. I think there's a lot of people that have an older mentality and don't think women belong in motorsport. And that's one thing I'd like to prove a lot of people wrong. It's you in the car and it's your ambition and your drive to win. As soon as that helmet goes on, that's it. I'm Brooke Newson. I'm a sprint car and outlaw car driver.
I've chosen to use VP racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP racing fuels.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up and not, a lot of it has to do with the race fuel, and that's what we rely on, VP racing fuels.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
Drag racing is not just about the horsepower. There is also some cool science at play right here on the racetrack. These drag strips aren't just regular concrete. We treat it with a special kind of glue often referred to as traction compound. I usually twist my foot and it's all... This is designed to ramp up the traction of the track's surface. It's getting worse by the minute for us racers to go straight and fast. In drag racing, every millisecond counts. why the teams adjust the car's setup to suit the track conditions. Teams can assess the traction on the track by using this interesting device called a traction meter gauge. The bottom of the device has a rubber pad that mimics a racing slick. To measure the track's grip value, the user stands on the base, ensuring the rubber pad bonds with the racing surface. Turning the torque arm on the top of the device will rotate the rubber pad. When the bond breaks, the user will see a number on the dial. Teams can then use this number to help create baselines for grip within their respective setup.
A street car through to a race car, be sure to think of Aeroflow Performance. The ever-increasing range that started with just hose, fittings and fuel system components has grown to include boosted turbochargers, bang shift shifters, X-Pro ignition and electrical accessories, Bosch Motorsport products, fabrication parts, as well as driveline and engine components. With an exceptional distribution network and inventory, Aeroflow products are always within reach. With more to come in the future, be sure to keep an eye out at aeroflowperformance.com.
Bang shift shifters from Aeroflow Performance are truly the modern shifter for the modern age. Featuring a full bespoke billet case, all shifters are designed for right-hand drive vehicles with an LED lit gear position indicator. Available in either ratchet or gated options, as well as OEM replacement shifters for popular Holden and Ford vehicles. A large range of bang shift spares are available for each shifter that includes shifter cables, brackets, lever and gate kits, trans brake buttons and drop boxes for the ideal mounting solution. Shift into gear and check out a full listing at aeroflowperformance.com.
How would it be if we funded a pilot program for you to run that enabled you to bring some vision impaired kids onto the Saints Play program?
Oh wow, that would mean the world. My reward is the smile on the kids' faces.
And since you've given so much to others, we'd also like to do something for you personally. How would it feel if Pepper sent you, your partner, and your daughter Molly to the Gold Coast for a few days?
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what to say. It amazes me. Thank you very much.
BikeReview.com.au is Australia's leading website for performance and modified motorcycles. BikeReview.com.au is the only motorcycle-focused website to feature motorcycle drag racing on a regular basis. And in the words of editor Jeff Ware, our involvement with Sydney Dragway is our way of putting back into one of our favourite sports. BikeReview.com.au.
Bank said no to your home loan? Talk to us.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
I have this incredible drive to succeed. I've just got this ambition, I want to get on the podium. I think there's a lot of people that have an older mentality and don't think women belong in motorsport. And that's one thing I'd like to prove a lot of people wrong. It's you in the car and it's your ambition and your drive to win. As soon as that helmet goes on, that's it. I'm Brooke Newson. I'm a sprint car and outlaw car driver.
I've chosen to use VP racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP racing fuels.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up and not, a lot of it has to do with the race fuel, and that's what we rely on, VP racing fuels.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
Drag racing is not just about the horsepower. There is also some cool science at play right here on the racetrack. These drag strips aren't just regular concrete. We treat it with a special kind of glue often referred to as traction compound. I usually twist my foot and it's all... This is designed to ramp up the traction of the track's surface. It's getting worse by the minute for us racers to go straight and fast. In drag racing, every millisecond counts. That's why the teams adjust the car's setup to suit the track conditions. Teams can assess the traction on the track by using this interesting device called a traction meter gauge. The bottom of the device has a rubber pad that mimics a racing slick. To measure the track's grip value, the user stands on the base, ensuring the rubber pad bonds with the racing surface. Turning the torque arm on the top of the device will rotate the rubber pad. When the bond breaks, the user will see a number on the dial. Teams can then use this number to help create baselines for grip within their respective setup.
Falcon out at a 1.93 for the 60. Nice and strong top end. 10.6, 136 miles an hour.
Again, looking at both ends, the speed and the ET. So definitely making improvements there. I wonder if they're just winding more horsepower into it to do that. I dare say the air's probably getting a little bit cooler as well.
Yes.
the cars market I've been watching keenly tonight on the start line now in the Aeroflow lane. Subaru.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Listening through the track mics, it was a shift, and I thought into second and third, it didn't sound quite right. And then for the next gear, it just finding the clutch back is doing a lot of work there that it normally wouldn't be doing on the road. There is a little bit of wheel spin there, but certainly on an unprepped Richmond road, the wheel would just be spinning. That would be the big pop the clutch. So we prep the track here at Sydney Dragway, of course, to a street prep track. So we don't prep it to the same stickiness as a full-on race meeting, because we're sending every second car away with broken something in the finish line, right? So we do that intentionally, designed to try and hold the average street car on the street tyres, of course.
Yes. Yep.
And then from there, the cars with more horsepower than that, they generally have the tunability through laptops and engine management. They can manage to get the car down the racetrack at very decent speeds and ETs. The majority of the prep is set for the street. That's what it's We're seeing more very respectable times in these race cars. 1072 with a 142 mile an hour mark. Wow.
Yes, indeed. And 11.9, 121 miles an hour. So, they've definitely turned that car up.
Yes, look at that, 107 at half track for the rocket lane there.
Yep. But I did also see Joe Sabello rolling out, as well as the supercharged Tirana.
Okay. Get the bibs ready for you.
Yeah. Yep.
What should I get? One of the trays? Have you seen the ones that look like a big drip tray? They're not a cloth, they're like a plastic little bowl to catch it. So you can get it back in with the spoon.
That's a terrible thought.
It's not good. The strong burn out there from the high ace in the rocket lane this time around. As well as got hit with some rocks.
Yeah. That sounds like a Tirana.
Utility. Wow. Very good start line, but not being shy this time around. Let's see what it can do at the finish line. 1082 with an 8.6 mile an hour. 8 with a 104 mile an hour for the high ace.
Well, nice, strong burnout from the Tirana.
Facing back towards the tower here, so the cars will now have a little bit of a headwind. Across the finish line, 1069 with an 130 mile an hour mark.
And Joe with an 11.6, 117 miles an hour. Similar reaction times, they would have been locked together at the finish line. Alright, this should be a good race. I think Richards will have the advantage, but
We'll soon see Wally Hoster in the Aeroflow lane for BC Performance on the Suzuki GSXR 1000. Michael Riches. Students without turbo. Slightly better reaction time on 0.43, 2.57. Locked together all the way down the racetrack. Riches just gets there by 400ths of a second. Goes a 9.23 with a 9, 146 to a 9.26 with a 9, 157.
Big miles an hour for Hoster.
Yeah, that's the 13 mile an hour. That's huge. Massive difference in terminal speed there between the two. Hoster to take the honours there with the speed.
Another good reaction time from the rocket lane.
0.14 this time around. Gets their first 10.03 with a 7, 145 to a 10.92 with a 3 at 127 in the rocket.
I've been very impressed with the rider here on the big Harley. WAK Motorcycles.
Every time Lee's along with the front wheel high in there.
Yes. Yeah. I guess you just got to lean forward a little bit. That's probably enough to bring the balance back forward, and then the front end comes down.
And 14.894 miles an hour. Then back to the cars.
Well, boys, we've got the Mercedes up against the Toyota Crown. Quite a nice looking car, this one, this Toyota Crown.
And a 13.72 takes the win there, 98 mile an hour to 14.2 with a 0. Also at 97, so it's about 3/10 across the finish line between those two. Next up, a pair of Hyundais on the start line. These guys will be out next week for the Honda versus Haters match race. Of course, our next theme night here at Aeroflow Race for Real. Does that mean you get in cheap if you say you hate Hondas? It doesn't. How do they? Oh, I wonder how they. I wonder if Darian's thought of that. Probably shouldn't be saying that out loud. Yeah, so I know Darian is a Honda fan, so I know where he'll be cheering along.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting thing, isn't it?
If I'm not here next week, Mike, you know why.
You just give everyone a discount.
I didn't think that through.
113 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane to a 185 miles an hour for the rocket lane.
I could say I was just testing who was listening to them.
Absolutely.
Tommy doesn't watch that bit. The time delay is not enough.
Well, it was when I nearly fell up the steps the other day.
Oh, yes, you were lucky the other day. it's all good. At least the floor's lower. At that point. All right, our next pair rolling up to the start line. I think that's a pair of Falcon tail lights in the mist, and that's a Honda over there in the rocket lane.
Falcon done a huge burnout. And gets out. 0.4 reaction. 2.55 from 60. But the Honda's coming on strong.
Yeah, he went 124 mile an hour on the last pass. There we go. 12.90, 128. Thank you very much.
Well, and 16.3 at 83 miles an hour for the Aeroflow.
Clean this time.
12 to 110 miles an hour. 11.9 at 113 miles an hour.
The problem is, Mark, they could mean one of two things. He's fixed the problem or it's no longer got oil.
That's one way of fixing the problem.
I'm tipping he's fixed it because it would have been a lot more messy if it didn't have oil.
Yep.
Which is good.
Well, guys, fantastic news. Sammy Joe and the Dialed In Racing team, they've got the CV joint fixed in the Commodore. The last one, Mark, Sammy didn't even spool it up, and she snapped CV joint clean in half.
Wow.
So they've managed to fix it. So
see, Sammy,
coming back out in the left lane.
Sammy, I'd blame Brian and say that he broke it. He fractured it all the way through. And she just finished it off.
He wore it out.
Yeah.
She finished it.
Correct. Yeah. See, out, done.
Excuse mate.
Not a bad pass out of the Aeroflow lane there. 13.83 with a 9, 103. Of course, we are talking miles an hour. It's 100 mile an hour, near enough to 160 kilometres per hour if we're converting that to the metric generation. Of course, drag racing always done in feet and inches, but we will try and give you the odd conversion when Mark and I think of it. 140 mile an hour, if you hear us mention that, that in my mind is a pretty good yardstick. 140 mile an hour is near enough to 220 kilometres an hour. So when you're hitting 140, you've got a very serious race car underneath you, whether it be a road car or a race car for that matter.
It's a really, really serious road car.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like a low 10-second road car. Like enough to lose your license in one go, sort of thing, if you choose to be stupid.
13.0, 85 miles an hour for the Rocket, and 15.9, 84 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane. You have the two Skylines out again, side by side. I would dare say probably two friends out here racing each other.
Yes. Yep, they've both got the P plates on the under the number plates, as you say. I think they're around the high teens mark.
Yes.
Their first pass, but you know, as I said, it's all about coming out here and having a bit of fun, running themselves, hopefully bettering their previous time down the racetrack. You know, getting a little better shift, or you know, running a little bit further out in the gear, pick a better RPM to change. The car's certainly very evenly matched. The rocket lane just down in front, and probably by about a car or so. Runs on through for a 17.21 with an 8, 74 mile an hour to take the win to an 18.73.
The Falcon back out again, and the VS Commodore right beside him.
1:06, 1:23.
And 15.9 at 92 miles an hour. Sammy Joe back out with the Commodore up against the fair lane.
Should do that on a day, wouldn't we? I learned a term the other day, a ghost cam. I had no idea. So I always said a ghost cam is where you make the car lumpy just wait for the tune.
Oh, okay.
No, the idle.
Oh. Okay.
All right, so Sammy Joe's away from the start line with all parts intact. Runs on through for an 11.98, 112 mile an hour. So that car of Brian's usually running like 12.3s, doesn't it? Yep. So 4/10 of a second. Yeah, 3 to 4 tenths of a second. A good pick up there for Sammy Joe. 112 mile an hour and a 15.32 with an 8.90 in the rocket lane.
So we used to do our cars, but we used to just choke out.
Even worse for you if you look on
real bubble.
Yeah, that's right. You smell the petrol. All right, our highest fan back for another pass. This time taking on Aiden Stutchbury in the rocket lane. Aiden's car 149 to the 60. One of the quickest cars we've seen to the 60 here tonight. Very well sorted and runs on through for a 10.53 with a fine 127 miles an hour.
Such a good Wells. And 14.472 miles an hour.
Snuck in under our camera mark. Did see him come back around. Out of it just after half track, was nearly nudging the 100 mile an hour, so 160 kilometres an hour to half track there for the Tirana.
Hit the limiter at the top end of the track. Back into the bikes again. Oh, another good reaction time for the rocket lane. 0.016. Yeah, Mad Cow, I was sort of expecting a little bit too.
Hey boys, we're going to give Joe some competition on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Mark's just said he's going to bring the hood out. probably might even have qualified for Day of the Drags. What's that, a 90s, isn't it?
It was a 90.
Yeah.
Wonder what the cut-off is.
Certainly get concession registration.
Yeah.
Michael Rich is out. Rocket Lane seems to favour that lane. 68 might definitely well practiced at those rights. Running a 9.08 with a 3, 147 miles an hour on that pass. He dipped into the 8s on the second run, but hasn't quite got back there. But again, another clean run.
All right, Hyundai i30N up against the Kona N. Dave Muscat coming up. Boys, he's got the eyes on.
At 106 miles an hour to a 16.5, 87 miles an hour. With the Skyline wagon against the V-Dub.
And this little R31 Skyline, I don't know if they were called anything else, but that's definitely the shape.
Yep.
That'd be a pretty rare car. You don't see that model on the roads anywhere. There was a fellow racing one in, I think, Super Sedan over in Perth, a black one.
Okay, yeah.
Had an LS in it. Went a couple of rounds, but yeah, certainly not a super commonly seen car on the roads here in Australia. Certainly in Sydney. I had a friend that had a couple of the actual, he had the two-door version.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
I think that would have been an import for sure.
Yes.
I don't think we would have ever got those from the dealership. And they're not a bad looking car in the tour. They've had the door slammer car. Was it Glasby?
Oh, 10.6, 131 miles an hour for the Aeroflow. 11.8 at 115 miles an hour for the Rocket Lane.
With a 6, 121 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane there. 209 at 116 in the Rocket.
Joe's back out again.
He's done 100
is. Yep. And 15.586 miles an hour. Probably the best one we've seen online.
He'd be definitely top 5. He went 001 red, but of course that doesn't count. It's got to be on the green side. With a 148 mile an hour for the rider in the Aeroflow lane to a 1096 with an 128 mile an hour in the Rocket. Side by side across the finish line, although the Aeroflow lane out in front just by a little bit, 13.59 with a 7.97 mile an hour to a 007 leave for the Rocket lane. Runs on through for 14.72 with a 6 at 98 mile an hour. So those bikes fairly evenly matched. It was the reaction time there from the Rocket lane that told the story. 007. Lead there from the Rocket lane. And runs on through for an 11.98 with an 8. 111 mile an hour. Now EL Fairlane. In the Aeroflow lane. On the tree for the Aeroflow lane to a 280 in the Rocket. The Rocket lane's come on around at the top end, 14.05 with a 6.98 mile an hour across the stripe.
And 14.7 at 91 miles an hour for the Aeroflow lane. Too high. Honda's lining up again. They're going at it all night long. Right behind them in the nitrous VX Commodore. For 104 miles an hour to a 14.195 miles an hour. First night out with the black Commodore, the nitrous on.
Tagging on the top of first there for Sammy.
Yep. I didn't see a purge in nitrous either. Yeah, nitrous is not on.
She's gone through a lot already.
Purged it too much.
Oh, they were only very short. She certainly wasn't doing MPK style.
No, not at all.
Where they're purging 6 kits in one go.
Okay.
So, of course, those of you that don't know Gene Winfield, he was a custom car designer from 50s, 60s, 70s, I suppose.
Yep.
I did of George Barris circles. Did a lot of movie cars and a lot of the wild Matchbox cars that we saw out of that era. A lot of them were probably designed fingers in design, but still did a lot of work. He appeared on a number of the free-to-air shows out of the US that do the car restorations and car modifications. The Martin Brothers shop, he did a thing in there, and a couple of others. I think the Kindig Designs done a show with them. I guess just seemed a guy that had a real passion for what he was doing, and that's why he kept doing it for so long. As I said, the post I saw said that he was approximately 98 years old, so certainly a very good innings. I'm sure it was released by those who are in the car customisation scene, and I think a loss of a true craftsman and someone that I suppose dared to think way outside the box to what a lot of car people tend to think when they modify something.
Yes.
But I think that era of car modification, there was no rules effectively, so whatever your mind would develop the skills and have the technology skills to allow the car to be made, then it happened, you know what I mean? So definitely a loss for the car customisation world and an idol to many, I'm sure. And to the start of many a workshop owner nowadays that would have seen what was being produced in horror magazines and the like, going around to car shows as a kid. Those people are now old enough to have their own workshops, and I dare say most of them. Occasionally people go, oh yeah, I got this book out, I can just grab a box and just throw the stuff through. And some of the stuff you find, if you had one of them back in the day, if you only knew what something like that would be, the amount of people that would desire something like that now, it's 2020 vision, of course, you would have hung on to so much more stuff, or seeked out so much more stuff, I guess. And it's not necessarily just racing. Car customization scene is big across so many different types of cars and ways to build a car, and whether you like showing your car, whether you like racing it around a circuit, down a drag strip, or around just doing your best to destroy it on the burnout pad. That should be yes, Adam, you're correct. This is a very fast car. He went
148.
Yeah. Our producer's saying something. We've got our keys on. We're thinking he's saying it's a fast car, which it is, but apparently this is our last car for tonight. We'll be going to Burnouts after this run. This car went a little bit quicker than that on its last run, so we were saying, yes, it is fast, so I believe you, Adam. So I believe that will bring a close to the drag racing part of this evening's entertainment, and we shouldn't be too far away from bringing out our burnout cars to produce a lot of smoke and run around and try and get the tyres off, as they say, rims or rods, I reckon.
Hang on, we've got Stewie. Two more.
Oh, Adam's misled us.
Yeah, guys, got Joe Savello putting his helmet on out the back. Yeah, we've got that red Falcon that it's made its way around to the staging lanes as well. But we've got 5 burnout cars, guys.
5, excellent turnout.
Yep.
Oh, there they are there. They've snuck into our scrutiny lanes. drag race car goes across the finish line, we'll escort those vehicles down past the burnout pad, and they'll have their time to shine, of course, on the Sydney Dragway burnout pad. Hope everybody's enjoyed tonight's entertainment. Of course, Stewie will be working the tonsils down there on the burnout pad, and of course I can see a number of people sitting in front of the blue seating on the grandstand. We will require you to move back to the blue seats or beyond. That's for your own safety. So up to you if you want to watch this next pair, but we'll need you to move before the that would be great. All right, the Falcon rolling out to the start line. The last run spun the wheels pretty hard. Getting a field boost. 1.8 to the 60. Big feather to the throttle. I think at half track if I can hear the car correctly. Yeah, 11.06 with the 3 at 125.
Yeah, so definitely not his quickest pass of the night.
No, it might have been trying to. Notice that Tom Rooney seemed to be stalling it up a little bit more.
We do have our track crew just having a look at the track. Someone's seen something there. So was there something coming off that car, Stu?
Yeah, a little bit of coolant as on the start line here, a few drops. It happened on his first couple of runs when he opened up the tap and a whole heap of it just spilt all through the engine. I thought he'd cleaned it all up, but there's still a few drops coming out of it. Looks like it would give the all clear.
just having a little bit of a clean up down in the Aeroflow lane. Yeah.
Right, Stewie, if you can hear me, if you can grab those two bikes running across the burnout pad, because M10 has just won themselves $1,500 for the Triple O Light. Wasn't that worth the wait for that ride?
Yes, indeed.
Congratulations to the rider of M10. They've just won themselves $1,500 for doing the perfect reaction time. Of course, that means they left the start line at exactly the same time the green light came.
Yes.
So congratulations. I'm sure Stewie will be down to greet you very, very shortly. Click everything. No, I myself have never done that. I don't know whether you will.
No, I haven't, no. Got some close ones, but
close. But
yeah.
close is not the same, is it?
It is not.
All right, as we can see, I think that was our last couple of bikes down the racetrack here tonight from the drag racing point of view, but we're about to make a whole heap of noise and a whole heap of tyre smoke.
Yes.
For all of our viewers in the grandstands, as I said, I need you behind the changing colour in seating before the burnouts commence. So where the colour of the dragster and the WSID is, I need you behind that row of seating, please.
If you just have a look around you, if you're in front of the row of blue seats, you need to move your way back to be in line with them, because nothing will start while you're sitting in front of it.
If you're the rider of M10, could you meet Stewie at the bottom of the tower, please? M10, you've recorded a perfect reaction time and therefore won our jackpot for $1,500 here this evening. If you could please meet Stuart down at the bottom of the tower, he would gladly come and give you some paperwork and grab a photo and organise payment for the jackpot prize. So congratulations to rider M10. Could I also have one of our media people on the premises to meet Stewie at the bottom of the tower as well, please? Thank you.
guys, put your hands together. Huge effort.
Great stuff there from the Falcon nutcase. Get your hands together for On the Sly. Always does a very, very good skid in that car. Next up, we got the blue VX Commodore about to come out. And behind him, we got Mr. Sandy. Sure what's going to overheat first, whether the engine will blow or the tyres. He's doing a good job of trying to destroy them. Great stuff there from the blue Commodore. Give him some noise, people. All right, guys, it's time to get your phones out because Mr. Sandy is ready. He's pumped. 20 seconds left. Well, I think that might be all she wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Sandy. Well, guys, when we think of burnouts here on a Wednesday night, the name Bad always comes to mind. And we welcome Jem Bad onto the burnout pad in the Falcon. He's been drag racing this all night. It's great to see Jem Bad on the pad. All right, we've got the new contracting wagon called Dreamer about to come out now with a bit of sponsorship from Commodore Boots and Atlantic Oils. Great stuff there from Dreamer. Got those rear tyres off in very quick succession. That's nice people for Dreamer. All right, guys, Jem Bad is about to hit the burnout pad in a minute. Our fire crew just picking up some rubber. All right, guys, good news. Jimbad has got the Falcon Ute fired up. Still got a little bit of water dripping out the front of it. All right, looks like it's just cut itself out. Well, nevertheless, I'm sure we will see Jimbad back in the future. And hit the burnout pad. But guys, a bit unfortunate there for Jimbad. Please give him a round of applause. At least he tried and made an effort to get that car out on the pad. Sometimes they want to play the game, sometimes they don't. It's the joys of motorsport. Next up on the pad is a car that I haven't seen before, called Yeah Lad, the VL Commodore wagon. Great stuff there from Yeah Lad. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Great skid from the Commodore wagon. Don't put it on the wall, man. Please, it's a nice looking car. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight's Aeroflow race for real here at Sydney Dragway. A great way to end the night. Couple of tyres going bang. Huge, huge thank you to my co-commentators, Stephen Bush and Mark Thomas. Adam Heron, our production guru, up there as well. Couldn't do it without you, brother. Great pictures for the live stream. To everybody who's watching via YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in once again. And we will see you next week here at Sydney Dragway for Aeroflow Race for Real.